plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Ready for an oil change? We can help get the right protection at the right price. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Daily Protection or Valvoline Max Life High Mileage Motor Oil with an STP oil filter for just $28.99. Visit one of our 6,000 stores or order from AutoZone.com for same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Mucinex DM's bilayer tablet allows for immediate and extended release, relieving both wet and dry coughs and loosening chest congestion for 12 long hours. Grab Mucinex DM, available at Walgreens.
Hey, Ray Magliozzi here. Have you ever cooked a really fine gourmet meal? Yeah, me neither. But I'm told it all comes down to the ingredients. And when I need ingredients to improve my car, the place I go is eBay Motors. Whether you roasted your last transmission, graded your current floor mats, or pureed your side view mirror on a lamppost, eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And by the way, if you recently fired up your grill, don't worry, eBay Motors has grills too. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Hola, Carla speaking.
Carla's roofing company always goes above and beyond.
Yeah, we heard about next week's forecast.
She needs a new foreman to weather a storm of projects.
You mean another full crew before Wednesday? Mira, Jose, can you work Wednesday?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
We've got a party of 10 coming in. We need to flip those 2 tables.
Leah's restaurant is fully booked night after night.
Section 3 is still behind.
She no longer has reservations about finally finding a hostess.
Why doesn't 23 have menus? Oh, because they're in my hand.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter.com/find.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, we're finally back in the station. How about that? Back in the studio today. Welcome in. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on this. It is Friday, right?
It is Friday.
I don't know what day it is. Yesterday, snowed in. Not going to lie. Didn't mind it. Did not mind it one little bit. I really enjoyed that snow day of just kind of laying around doing nothing. So I absolutely enjoyed that. You got stuck today, though.
Got stuck today. As some people may know, I am also on Hot 102.9 from 10 to 2. And I got up this morning about 6:30 to shovel the driveway to, come to work and everything like that. Driveway was fine. Got out the driveway, got out my neighborhood. And then I got kind of close to the station and I realized I forgot something. I forgot the Comrex. People that listened to the show on Wednesday saw I was at home for a hot second trying to do the show and everything like that. But the Comrex was acting crazy, technology. So I had to double back to the house and grab the Comrex. So in doubling back, I got stuck. In a parking lot for like 45 minutes. I want to say thank you to everybody over there at NTB and thank you to everybody over there at Pizza Hut for helping me get out of there, man, because I was stuck in there and I wasn't going to be moving anytime soon. They helped get me out by pushing and shoveling and getting me up out of there. So I got to the station late, which is a first for me. Really not a late person, but got to work late. But we are here together live.
Yeah, I'm laughing, by the way. I'm out shoveling snow all day today and we just moved a while back at the beginning of the month. And, now the snow hits and I'm out just busting my ass shoveling snow.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing it's pretty loud outside. I'm like, what does every one of my neighbors have a snowblower? It's unbelievable. And here I am with my $10 Dollar General snow shovel, just sweating. And it was a workout and I was just miserable. And people they just knocked it all out within 20 minutes, and I had maybe 2 swipes done by the time it was all done. But, losing weight and having fun all at the same time. But we welcome you in. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty, and, of course, Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. We got a couple college basketball things that we'll get into later on. The college basketball's leading scorer, Antione Davis, is actually in Detroit or in town tonight. They'll be at the Nutter Center taking on Wright State. Wright State and Detroit were supposed to go head-to-head last night due to the weather, postponing it till tonight. So Wright State will have a game tonight and a game tomorrow night. Wow. Detroit tonight, Antione Davis, the country's leading scorer. They'll be going up against him, of course, and then they'll have Oakland, the first-place team out of their league, tomorrow. Wright State in third in the conference right now, trying to reposition themselves at the top. And then the Dayton Flyers, Joe Lunardi, released his latest bracketology report, and it is interesting. In a year where everyone thought, after losing those 3 tough home games at the beginning, those bye games, horrible losses for the Flyers, they've done so well. They've been able to dig themselves out of that hole to where they have now climbed up. Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology report, I'll tell you how high they moved up in his report coming up here just around the corner. But I want to open up with this. Your guy, Jimbo Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of Jimbo Fisher right now because I love good quality WWE style promos. And I love when you get a good one, when you just get a passionate, authentic, organic response. Emotion is always key when giving a good WWE caliber promo. And Jimbo Fisher, well, he did not hold back at all. Now, the reason I'm bringing up Jimbo Fisher today to open up the show, believe it or not, the National Signing Day was just, what was that? Not yesterday, Wednesday. And Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher, well, all the attention is going to, yes? Oh, yeah. No. Oh, yeah. Well, all the attention is going to Alabama, and you're obviously your Georgias and your Ohio States of the Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M, they've been doing some work. Mm-hmm. They've been doing some work. Texas A&M finishes with the 2022 top number 1 recruiting class. Now, this is significant because it's not just the number 1 recruiting class for the class of 2022. It's the highest ranked recruiting class ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Now, looking at my notes and going back and taking a look at why this is significant is because Alabama set that mark last season. Alabama in 2021 had the highest ranked recruiting class and the highest ranked recruiting class ever until Texas A&M passed them. But for these back-to-back recruiting classes, that I don't think it's a coincidence that it's overlapped around the time of NIL, by the way, but we'll get into that coming up in a moment. Florida had the highest ranked recruiting class ever back from 2010 until Alabama last year, and then Texas A&M this year. So it's fun following that. Now, again, Texas A&M, number 1 recruiting class in the class of 2022. Finishes with 7 5-stars, 18 4-stars, and 3 3-stars. 29 total commits. Alabama came in at number 2. Georgia came in at number 3. Ohio State came in at number 4. Only 2 5-stars, by the way. Ryan Day's just slacking, I guess. Excuse me, well, I had to drink my water. See, I ate some Skittles before coming on the air today, and I keep choking on the damn Skittles. So, there it is again.
Power booster.
Exactly. Texas. How about that? I mean, Texas, Steve's, obviously Sarkisian and Texas, the Longhorns coming in at number 5 on these recruiting rankings. So there's that. Penn State, 6th. Oklahoma, or Notre Dame, 7th.
Okay.
Oklahoma, 8th. Michigan, even though their head coach was, out at the bar, eyeing some side pieces, he ended up coming back home at the end of the night. Good for him.
Coming home.
And then North Carolina coming in at number 10, finishing for the 3rd straight season, finishing ahead of Clemson, by the way. And I find that interesting. Mac Brown's doing some interesting things at North Carolina. Every year we thought Sam Howell in North Carolina were going to be that sleeper playoff pick this year, and it just never really transpired that way. They weren't as good as what people were anticipating. But Mac Brown, I mean, he has had three top 10 recruiting classes since taking over North Carolina. That doesn't happen in North Carolina. Pretty impressive.
Not in football.
So with this Texas A&M recruiting class, again, the number 1 in 2022, but the highest ranked recruiting class ever. Keep bringing that up because it just sounds weird talking about that with Texas A&M in a state that has the Texas Longhorns, in a conference that has Alabama and Georgia, and here comes Texas A&M. Fascinating stuff. So with that, though, here comes your doubters, your naysayers. This is why I love college football, by the way, because I don't believe, although the coaches kind of respect one another, they don't like one another.
Right.
In the NFL, everybody's friends. In the NFL, coaches, they're buddy-buddy. I mean, every once in a while, you'll get that Harbaugh, spat with, the Bengals and the Ravens this year. Kind of went back and forth a bit. Belichick obviously rubbed some people the wrong way at times. But what I love about college is that they don't just compete once a year on a Saturday. They compete 365 days a year because they're competing out on the recruiting trail. These guys don't like one another. Lane Kiffin has taken some sideways shots at the Texas A&M program. He's taken some sideways shots at his former boss and former head coach, obviously, and Nick Saban in Alabama. Nick Saban made an interesting comment at the beginning of the, I think back in the early January, saying that name, image, and likeness, that there's a control needs to be put on it because there is a particular program that is abusing it. And I love that he used the word abusing because, by the way, that's called they're doing it well, and it's not Alabama. So, of course, Nick Saban's coming out. So the battle through the media between Jimbo Fisher and Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban, it's been going on for a few months now because we're all like sitting back, we read these, we think it's all a little lighthearted stuff back and forth. No, these guys they're competing and recruiting against one another. They can't stand one another. And I love it. Jimbo Fisher just beat Nick Saban this past year. Of course, Texas A&M beating Alabama. So there is this Twitter or this media site called Bro Bible on Twitter. Don't really know the significance of Bro Bible, but Bro Bible started putting out this article talking about the ways that Texas A&M has kind of been cheating the system a little bit, or they've been manipulating the name, image, and likeness rules to their favor. There had been numbers dropped that they had spent close to $30 million on this recruiting class. Well, at least, if that is true, at least you have the number 1 recruiting class to speak for it, by the way, because if that is true, then more power to you. Again, don't know how credible Bro Bible is. It does have the blue check mark by it, so whatever that means. But I find it fascinating that Jimbo Fisher was pissed off about Bro Bible. He said Bro Bible and sliced bread like 100 times. But it talked about how Texas A&M goes about their business, Kev. So here is how Texas A&M allegedly recruited using name, image, and likeness this past season. So it says that a recruit is targeted for a specific recruiting class. Some of these sound very basic, but just hear me out. A recruit is targeted for a specific recruiting class. A point donor then heads the recruiting effort. The point donor gathers other donors around him. It sounds like a pyramid scheme. Those donors create an LLC. The LLC sponsors the targeted recruit and pays out deals for NIL if and when he enrolls. That recruit, upon arrival to campus, receives the money from the LLC. In turn, the recruit promotes the LLC and its cause, whether that be a charity or business. So this is a way that instead of one business getting involved in the dance, of course, it's a lot of businesses buying into one LLC. These donors are buying into one LLC, and then that money is being handed to that recruit, to that athlete when they enroll and arrive on campus. And in turn, if you notice, a lot of these athletes at times, they're promoting some kind of foundation, they're promoting some kind of charity or business. which is the purpose and name, image, and likeness. I get it. But I find this fascinating that Bro Bible releases this. Now, Jimbo is a little upset. He's a little upset. This is Jimbo Fisher in the press conference when he was asked about some of the reports coming out that there's been a little funny business in how he is recruited during name, image, and likeness. Here's Jimbo Fisher popping off on Bro Bible, on Nick Saban, on Lane Kiffin. Notre Dame gets brought up around the corner as well. I'll have that audio for you in a second, but take a listen to Jimbo Fisher, Kev.
Do you kind of consider it a slap in the face or whatever when there's these thoughts out there that it's because a lot of money is being spent and just your thoughts?
Here's what I'm going to say, and this is point blank. This is point blank because here's my problem. There is no $30 million fund. There is no $5 million. There is no 10. This is garbage, okay? And it pisses me off that people, and here it comes from a site called Bro Bible by a guy named Sliced Bread. Then everybody runs with it. So it's written on the internet as gospel. How irresponsible is that? I'm going to tell you, there's some very reputable writers in college football and sports that wrote it and have said it and have done things. That's unbelievable to me. When I first heard it, I laughed. I said, oh, yeah, what a clown. I mean, I didn't even think anything of it because I don't have social media. And it kept building, and lately I've heard more about it. To me, it's insulting to the players that we recruited that's why they would come here. You ever been to a game here? You ever come to school here and see the education? You ever talk about the 12th man, the Aggie Network when you're done? There ain't a better university in this country. And it's insulting to what you say. And all these, and we got writers who have said it and done it off Sliced Bread. A guy named Slice who made it up. Love to see who Sliced Bread didn't put it out there with Sliced Bread. Let me find out where it comes from. And then to have coaches in our league and across this league to say it, clown acts. All right, irresponsible as hell. Multiple coaches in our league. And the guy's griping about NIL, griping about transfer portal, using it the most and bragging about it the most. That's the ironic part. You want character? I'll take it with any of y'all. It's a joke. It does piss me off.
So I don't know if you gathered that he's a little pissed off.
Talk your talk, Jimbo.
So that's your Florida State football fan. That's your former coach. Mm-hmm. I know I hogged the mic for the majority of this opening, but I found this storyline fascinating because I don't have an opinion of Jimbo one way or another. I think that the sport needs another top coach in the country, whether it's a villain or what have you. But you have your Nick Saban, and after that, your Dabo Swinney. It was Urban Meyer until he left. Ryan Day hasn't replaced him as far as one of the top coaches in college. He's a top coach in college football. Don't get me wrong, but he's not one of the faces of college football, if you will. But Jimbo has that. I think he lost a little bit of his little shine a little bit when he left Florida State, and now he's starting to get it back a little bit. And beating Alabama last year, 4 years after leaving Florida State, now having the best recruiting class ever, and to do it at a program like Texas A&M speaks volumes about the job that him and his staff are doing. However, they're getting it done, by the way. Your thoughts again watching this go down? I love the rivalry. I love the fact that you have these programs and these coaches just kind of going at one another in the media. Nothing's really crossed the line yet as far as any of the drama that's happened, but I love a nice little college football drama at this time of year.
Oh, this sells a sport. This sells a sport just as big as the games. This is going to be headline news when A&M and Bama plays. This is going to be headline news when Ole Miss and A&M plays. So all week leading up to that game, they're going to be playing this clip, and they're going to be talking about it. They're going to be talking about NIL. They're going to be talking about what rules need to be changed, what's fair, what's not fair, and everything like that. That's going to hype up the game. As far as Jimbo is concerned, he is a great X's and O's dude. He can draw up plays and scheme dudes wide open, and he's a very good recruiter. No doubt about it. Does he lack certain things? Absolutely. But when you get an influx of talent that they just got, you're expecting on the back end to get what Georgia just got, because Georgia has been up there as well, and they finally made it pay off this season. So if I'm an A&M booster, if I'm an A&M fan, if I'm an A&M student, all right, we got the best recruiting class of all time. I'm expecting a national championship within the next 2 years. That's what I'm expecting. As far as what Jimbo is saying about the other schools like A&M, like Ole Miss and Bama and everything like that, he's not wrong. He's not wrong in saying like, hey, man, he's defending not only his players, but more importantly, he's defending his coaches that went out on the recruiting trail to recruit these guys. Do I believe NIL played a part in those guys coming to A&M? Absolutely it did. Absolutely it did. But what he's trying to say is like, that's not the only reason they're coming here. Like my guys went out there and beat the pavement hard and we got it done. Just like if you're a salesperson and another sales team across town is bad-mouthing you guys, you would expect your GM to defend you guys. And that's what he's doing. So in Jimbo's light, I think he's right. You know what I'm saying? As far as NIL is concerned and, you know, other programs being mad about it, it's funny that they're mad because it's the others. It's the others coming to play now. Like now that this whole NIL thing is quote unquote legal and everything like that, you thought for 1 second that a school like USC wasn't going to come to the party and play like, oh, now we can go ahead and give money and it's okay. And we ain't got to hide and be snaky about it.
LA. I mean, good for you.
You think that A&M with all that oil money down there, all that big money down there in Texas, you didn't think they were going to come to play? They're coming to play now. Did you think for 1 second that a person like Deion Sanders, who has connections all over the place, wasn't going to come to play? Not that this stuff is legal and I don't have to sneak around and possibly risk my job and everything like that. Oh, it's legal? Okay, well, let's do this. And there's no secret to this. Like the big spenders win. And I heard Nick Saban complaining about transfer portal and complaining about, you know, the money being spent on NIL and everything like that. Let's remove the fact that coaches are paid and ADs are paid. That's their job. Fine. Let's remove that. But the sole reason Ohio State is Ohio State and Alabama is Alabama is because of the amount of money. So it's always about the money. It is the whole thing that this thing is all based on, because there's no way in the world, all due respect to Bowling Green, but they don't have the amount of money that Ohio State has. So their program is not going to be on that level, from facility wise, from head coaching wise to shadow staffs and everything like that. So you don't have the amount of revenue to pay extra assistants. You think that Bowling Green has enough money to pay a former NFL head coach to be their offensive coordinator? They got a dude that used to be the O'Brien. He used to be the Texans coach. He came there to be an offensive coordinator. They got Butch Davis working as an assistant to an assistant. Like he's not even on the full-time coaching staff.
Making $1 million.
He's behind the scenes breaking down film. So would you rather have Justin Kenner and Kev, two interns, breaking down film, or would you want Butch Jones breaking down film? Who do you think is going to break it down better? Butch Jones, of course. So they have that amount of money, so they're going to be having the advantage. So now that these other teams are coming to play and having the money to do this, now it's a problem. Now you got your panties in a bunch. Now you like, oh, man, we got to get some regulations. I don't like how this is going. No, they're coming to play, too. So you're going to have to step your game up, to open up the wallet. That's how it's going to have to be. And as far as the transfer portal is concerned, teams like Alabama, Ohio State, they get to cherry pick who they want out the transfer portal. Ohio State did it with offensive linemen from Rutgers back in the day. Like they're going to cherry pick who they want to come into their program to quote unquote, all right, man, we got a spot we really need, man. Oh, man, we need a left tackle. If there's like a left tackle out there that plays for Miami of Ohio and he's look like he's going to be an NFL prospect, maybe a 3rd round pick, come on to Ohio State. We'll make you a 1st round pick. You think that kid ain't going to transfer to play for the Buckeyes and potentially be a national championship and jump into the 1st round? Absolutely. So all these programs complaining about it, adapt, because the other programs are adapting.
518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call in and jump in on the conversation. But Jimbo Fisher was not done.
Oh, there's more.
Just when we thought Jimbo Fisher was done, he says, and another thing, and then brings Notre Dame into the mix. And he also, for the same things you had mentioned, brought up the fact that, in very similar form, saying, hey, you thought that, we're here to play too. We're here to recruit as well. And by the way, those schools trying to make Texas A&M out to be the villain because they've mastered NIL quicker than anybody else. And it's not really about mastering. It's about the opportunities around there. If that LLC little, format is how they're going about it, that's genius.
Right.
That's instead of relying on 1 to 2 to 3 in, isolated businesses or opportunities to come about. You have all of these maybe medium-sized opportunities coming together for one big one. And then, all of these sponsors and companies are coming in, donating money for this opportunity that they're putting in the form of an LLC that now could be going towards a foundation. And they're going to promote their foundation, and they're going to promote, this thing going on, and it's going to have all those businesses' names underneath. It's just and by the way, they'll write it all off at the end of the year because it's going to a charity. Their money that they're donating to a charity, which is actually going to the player, it's all, you know what I mean? It's going to be right. It's genius. And it's only a matter of time if it's a copycat, not league. It's, I don't know what the hell college football is, but it's going to be copied and utilized more and more. But here's Jimbo Fisher bringing Notre Dame into the mix.
The other thing, when you look at vice president, I get another one. Vice president of Notre Dame. Supposed to be at Reputable University, right? That's a heck of a person leading Reputable University. I'd be real proud if I hired that guy. Read it off sliced bread. But they say it because it's written on the internet. We worry about the kids and social media and internet. How about grown-ups? How about the guys that are supposed to be setting an example? How about writers who are supposed to be writing the right thing? How about coaches who are supposed to be doing the right thing? And I'll tell you what, I know how some of those guys recruit too. Go dig into that. I know the history, I know the tradition, and I know things. Trust me, you don't want to go down that avenue. It's ridiculous, and it's irresponsible, and it's unbelievable. I ain't just talking about one. Multiple people got NIL issues. It's funny, when Nick Saban said his quarterback got an $800,000 deal, it was wonderful. Now it ain't wonderful no more, huh? But ours, we ain't got that. Ours are on record what comes up. We ain't going on big deals. Ain't none on our place we know of. That's funny when you do it. And then we gripe about the transfer portal. Then you guys take more than everybody. What's about that? And what goes on? The hypocrisy is a joke. It's an absolute joke, and it's insulting to our staff, how hard we work, to how we do things. And it's insulting to Texas A&M because there ain't a better place to go to school and play ball. If we don't like it, we're coming on. Get used to it. All right? We ain't going nowhere. It's an absolute joke. The people put the hard work in and do it. It's irresponsible, but it's funny when they get it's all okay.
Watch this.
Ball games are changing, man. And it ain't because of NIL and what goes on. It's pretty irresponsible of all of them. They're clowns.
By the way, I've never had an opinion one way or another about Jimbo Fisher, but he is honestly, outside of Ryan Day, my favorite college football coach right now. Good for him. Literally, by the way, when you're trying to say the right thing and then you kind of, shoot yourself in the foot. I know how they recruit too. Like, the two I thought was key. The other part that was funny about this, Kev, too, is keep in mind the athletic director for Texas A&M, and I think his name is Ross Jork. Ross Jork, he was the program director. I'm sorry. Hold on. So he was the, head of the program at Ole Miss back when that thing happened with Freeze.
Right.
So now he's here. So it's just people are taking advantage of the optics and trying to run away with it or whatever. But, the athletic director, I kept saying program director, athletic director, I'm sorry. But yeah, so, he's also kind of getting a lot of heat too, because, everyone's like, well, your school's cheating. This is funny, but good for Jimbo Fisher. Good for him for coming out and defending his guys, defending his program. And I think that got a lot of attention.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone tried to make him look bad. He took something that could have really tarnished the perception of the program. And honestly, I think he has more people on his side now than on the other. We'll see what happens moving forward as far as recruiting is concerned. But I will tell you, I'm going to ask you, Kev, do these recruiting classes with as much, with how much the transfer portal has dominated college athletics, do these recruiting classes mean anything anymore? We'll talk about that on the other side. 518-1410. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. Whether you want to learn Spanish for future travel plans, French to connect with extended family, or maybe German to land a new job, Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you'll actually use. All you need is 15 minutes a day, and you'll be on your way to confidently speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel is designed by real language experts using a modern conversation-based technique that makes learning fun, engaging, and best of all, memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then sentences gradually get more complex. Soon you're practicing short conversations about real life topics. And with 14 languages to choose from and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll be sure to learn what matters most to you. Babbel, language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Make the big game even bigger with your new TV and sound system from Audio Etc. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom today and experience 8K TVs and projectors. Audio Etc. has tons of new inventory in stock, while everybody else is back-ordered or out of stock. Get special deals on TVs, short-throw projectors for 100-inch and 130-inch, and Sonos soundbars from $399, all the way to high-end Dream systems. Audio Etc. can bring any game home. It's better than being there. You have to see it to believe the incredible quality of the picture and sound. It's all about perspective. Audio Etc. has the brands, the deals, and the excitement. Audio Etc. powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of.
Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom.
KTH Parts Industries has immediate openings for second and third shift production associates and equipment technicians. KTH promotes from within, offers an attractive benefit package including medical, dental, 401k, attendance bonus, and a competitive wage, starting at $19 per hour with annual increases and shift differential. KTH will be hosting walk-in interviews Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. through 3 p.m. Please bring a resume and photo ID to apply, or see other career opportunities at kth.net. KTH is an equal opportunity employer.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. Whether you want to learn Spanish for future travel plans, French to connect with extended family, or maybe German to land a new job, Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you'll actually use. All you need is 15 minutes a day, and you'll be on your way to confidently speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel is designed by real language experts using a modern conversation-based technique that makes learning fun, engaging, and best of all, memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then sentences gradually get more complex. Soon you're practicing short conversations about real life topics. And with 14 languages to choose from and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll be sure to learn what matters most to you. Babbel, language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations, so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey team, it's a full house. We got to pick up the pace.
At Hank's Restaurant, the line goes around the block.
Is this for 12? Okay, I need the truffle oil drizzle.
What he needs is another line cook.
Oh man, are the quail breasts still in the sous vide? Dave, can you keep an eye on that, please?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
February is Children's Dental Health Month, so make sure you make an appointment for your child to visit an Ohio Dental Association member dentist. ODA member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care, are bound by the highest ethical standards, and have access to superior ongoing education and training. On your next visit, ask if your child's dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Exergen would like you to know about an important new study by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has always known. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate, and they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. With new strains of COVID on the rise, we can't afford to tolerate rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Football fans, the Sunday Morning Tailgate Show is officially back. Every Sunday morning starting at 11:30 a.m., College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and Justin Kinner will be live at Frickers on 741 by the Dayton Mall. The guys will recap the biggest games from college football Saturday, including your Ohio State Buckeyes. The guys will also get you set up for the day's biggest NFL matchups, featuring your Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, and more. It's the Sunday Morning Tailgate Show, live from Frickers on 741, Sunday mornings at 11:30 on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. If you're looking to buy or sell your home, give Brad Mays a call today with Home Experts Realty, 937-572-7425. That's the number to give my good friend Brad Mays a call today. Again, I've told this a million times. I will continue to brag about it. But, the job that he did in helping my fiance and I purchase our first home, he was literally, I felt like we were annoying the hell out of him, Kev. Like we would go look at a house. And then if that house was, we didn't get it or we didn't get the offer in on time or what have you, right away, we're texting, can we go look at another one? One night he went and took us to 4 different houses, spent the entire evening and afternoon and evening with us, making sure that we got in as many houses as possible. Does a great job. I promise you he'll do the same thing for you. So one more time, Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty, 937-572-7425. We welcome you back again, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, talking about Jimbo Fisher's blow up, if you will. Not really a blow up. You know what I liked about that, Kev? It was passionate, but it wasn't like screaming into the mic. It was just like, hey, we did this. Like, you're not going to disrespect our kids. You're not going to act like our school is horrible and the only reason they're here is because they got paid, when really that's going to be, and if it is, that's called life, by the way.
Right.
Any job you have, it's because, most jobs that you have, it's because they pay you the most, right? Like that. I mean, that's money is the ultimate motivator moving forward. It was before NIL, but now it's a lot easier to be that end goal as far as, okay, yes, I want to make sure I have a good relationship with the coach. I want to make sure I feel comfortable on campus, but ultimately it's going to be, to sit there and tell kids, you can't just chase the money. You got to make sure it's a good fit. Well, we kind of know that in our adulthoods, as far as job searching, but you're going to tell an 18-year-old kid that don't follow the money. I have a hard time believing money will rule early on. But the transfer portal, Kev, is also something that has taken off, as we now know. Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious, when you look at these recruiting rankings, of these 29 commits for the 2022 class for Texas A&M and even for Ohio State, who had the 4th ranked recruiting class in 22 of their 21, how many of these kids, of these 21 commits, I would love to go back. In fact, that's going to be my homework for over the weekend. I want to go back at the last 2 recruiting classes, and really maybe we won't get a good feel for this because the portal really has taken off over the last 2 or 3 years.
Right.
But it's really going to take another 2 or 3 years before we really get a good feel for how many of these annual commits for these classes actually see it all the way through. You never have everyone see it all the way through, right. Even back then before the transfer portal. But now I feel like of these 29 commits for Texas A&M, who just had the highest ranked recruiting class ever, how many of them are actually going to be a part of this Texas A&M journey for the next 3 or 4 years? That's the big question, because now all these guys are transferring out. You're replacing them with guys from the transfer portal. Are we going to get to a point, and I believe we will, where we have these national signing days, we have these recruiting rankings? How long before we get, and maybe there already is, and I just haven't come across it, transfer portal rankings.
Yeah,
or
24/7 Sports has the transfer portal rankings. LSU is number 1.
Oh, that's a thing now.
Yes.
Okay, I did not know that. But see, like that, I think that is going to rival these recruiting rankings. I think at a certain point, which one is going to be more, beneficial? Is it more important to have the number 1 recruiting class in college football history, or is it going to be kicking ass in the transfer portal? Both are important, but at some point, I think the transfer portal is going to overtake these recruiting rankings at some point, right?
I think it's still always going to be the crux of everything is going to be your incoming freshman class, because that's how you build a program. I think at some point, every program is going to be on the transfer portal to plug holes in their team. Like if you got a weak linebacking core, you want to plug that in. And somebody's unhappy at school X, Y, and Z, or that coach at that school gets fired or leaves or go to a different program, you dial them up. Like Henry Tuto that went from Tennessee to Alabama. He started at linebacker for Alabama last year. He's coming back for his senior year and everything like that. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that. As far as the incoming freshmen, how many guys really going to stick it out? I mean, 29 incoming freshmen that's insane, because you can only take a 32 maximum of players, if I'm not mistaken, in one recruiting cycle with incoming freshmen and transfers and everything like that. So you got 29 guys coming straight out of high school. I don't see more than 15 of those guys lasting their entire 4-year or 5-year career at Texas A&M, from whether it's the transfer portal, whether it's, balling out and going to the NFL early, to whatever name your situation that a college kid may have in college and everything like that. That is a lot of people to expect 29 out of 29 to actually make it all the way through. Like, that just doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in regular life. Like, what's the graduation rate for the incoming freshmen at Wright State? If there's 1,000 kids, you think 1,000 of them are graduating? That's not reality. So yeah, a lot of these dudes are going to end up transferring, and I'm almost positive whoever wins the quarterback job out of these freshmen that they got, because I think they got 2 4-star guys at the quarterback position. Whoever wins, the other dude, he ain't staying.
Well, and we talk about this. This is why last year at this time we were doing our over-unders, which, by the way, Kev Nash brings us over-under finally, coming up at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Super Bowl edition, some Joe Burrow stuff in there. My hot take a year ago was we did over-under for Quinn Ewers at Ohio State. And I said that Quinn Ewers will never take a snap for Ohio State. Now, I know he took 2 or 3 this year, but I should have been smart about it and said meaningful snaps. But I knew that Quinn Ewers was not going to take a snap at Ohio State, because I was like, if the Buckeyes get to where they were expected to go, which is at least, competing for a Big Ten title, at the very least a college football playoff spot. I don't know if anyone really projected CJ Stroud to be a Heisman finalist at the end, but you got to think, if the Buckeyes are in the playoff conversation, their quarterback always has a good shot at always being in the Heisman conversation. But he didn't just have a Heisman type. Those numbers, the offense with CJ Stroud at quarterback. So I said, if that happens, I don't know how you look at CJ Stroud and take the job from him and give it to Quinn Ewers.
Right. And
I don't see Quinn Ewers, with everything that's been touted about him, staying at Ohio State and being the backup for a second straight season. So it's NIL. Actually, that had nothing to do with NIL. That was just the transfer portal impact. And you're right. I think the same thing with Texas A&M and really all schools. I think that you're going to see that at all schools, and we've already seen it at all schools as far as I'm concerned. We're no longer going to see the days of having a JT Barrett, Dwayne Haskins, Joe Burrow crowded quarterback room like we used to. We may see it like with a bunch of incoming freshmen, as you talked about, but you're not going to see Cardale Jones waiting for years to get his shot. You're not going to see Dwayne Haskins sit behind JT and maybe have to sit behind Burrow, or Burrow sitting behind. Burrow moved. He transferred out, and look how well that was beneficial for him. It was beneficial for Ohio State as well. They had their Heisman candidate in Dwayne Haskins. It was their defense that lost him that game that year that kept him out of the college football playoff, or they would have been competing in the playoff that year. Then you got Justin Fields for 2 years. The embarrassment of riches at quarterback is now being kind of shared a little bit, because guys aren't wanting to wait and want, not want to wait their turn. And maybe they shouldn't. And if the opportunity is there, they should go. I look at this, Kev, and I just don't I don't care about recruiting rankings as much as I used to because of the transfer portal. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm not saying that it's, but I know how excited people get about these recruiting rankings. But if this number one recruiting class doesn't result in anything for Texas A&M outside of the conversations we're having today, then who cares? I've always said that about Ohio State. Dylan Shaver on Facebook, he messages into the show, Kev.
Mm-hmm.
He says he's an A&M graduate here. That's pretty cool. He goes, I'm really tired of the school bragging about how good the recruiting class is. It happens almost every year. Recruiting doesn't mean much if you can't win with those recruits. 0 SEC championships, not even an appearance. And thank you, Dylan, for that take, because Buckeye fans would get so pissed off at me every year on National Signing Day and early signing day, because I'm like, these are the reasons that when we get into the season, and I'm highly critical of Ohio State, if they don't look the part 1 week, or if they don't, if they get blown out by Clemson 31-0, I don't care about National Signing Day bragging about the recruiting classes, because if you have the best players in the country and you're not winning national championships with them, then you are not really doing what you should be with this talent. I know it's hard to win a national championship, but your job's a lot easier when you have the best players in the country. So when Ohio State and Bucknuts and 11 Warriors and Letterman Rowe, and they all are like, no one does it better than us. No one does it better than us. Then why aren't you winning national championships? I mean, you're averaging 1 a decade, which is way better than most. Don't get me wrong. But with those recruiting classes, you should be winning 2 to 3 national championships a decade. Alabama, that's not realistic. We'll talk to Alabama and Clemson. They did just fine this past decade. So I agree with you, Dylan, as far as that's concerned, because if you're going to brag about having the best players in the country, it means nothing if the best players in the country don't bring you the results that you're aspiring to get with these classes. So
yeah, I'm with you. The thing about the difference between Ohio State and Texas A&M is Ohio State does have hardware to show for it. Several Big Ten championships, several appearances in the college football playoff and everything like that. I don't remember. No, A&M has never been to a SEC championship game. And I'm trying to think the last time that they won the Big 12 championship game before they went to the SEC. I can't remember the last time they won a Big 12 championship. So it's been a very long time since they've been able to hoist some hardware, and everything like that, some meaningful hardware. I mean, bowl games are great and everything like that. But, if you're not winning the conference, you really don't have something to really brag about. You got a cool bowl game appearance and everything like that. And I don't even think they've been to, the Sugar Bowl is the last time. I want to say the 95 Sugar Bowl was the last time they went to like a quote unquote big time bowl game. And I think they actually played Ohio State in that Sugar Bowl.
But this is why this is significant though for Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher doing this, because, and again, and by the way, Dylan, I do think there should be some excitement. Texas A&M, they do recruit well, especially over the last couple of years with Jimbo. But you just had the number one recruiting class ever. But I don't know what the purpose of that is. If all the players that got you to have that number one recruiting class, if more than 50% of those players are transferred out over the next 2 years, why do we even brag about that? Why do we even care? And I would be saying that about Ohio State too. Like I'm saying this about all of college football right now. I don't care that you have the number one recruiting class. I don't care that Ohio State has number 4. In fact, I think that if you have the number one recruiting class, you're well ahead of everybody else, because if you have the number one recruiting class and you lose 50% of those guys over the next 2 years, I think they're still going to have way better players left over than the Ohio State at 4 if they lose 50% of their recruiting class.
Right.
And, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess the optics or what have you. But I just find this fascinating. I just don't get all gung-ho about recruiting rankings anymore, because with the way these players are leaving, coming and going, I put more stock into who won the transfer portal rankings than I do the recruiting rankings, because, yeah, it's just how I view it. I don't get all excited about it anymore.
A&M lost to Ohio State in the 99 Sugar Bowl 24-14. So just a little FYI.
There you go. Ran Go Blue on YouTube says 1998 last Big 12 championship for Texas A&M.
Yep, they beat Texas. They beat Kansas State. Yep.
So Dylan also says, we were 5 last year, as far as that goes. But he also says he goes, I loved Jimbo's comments. So do I. Like I said, Jimbo just moved up my favorite coaches list. My rankings for my favorite coach, he's right up there behind Ryan Day, because Ryan Day is the Buckeye coach. I have to leave him there. But number 2 is Jimbo Fisher, for basically just putting everyone on blast and then calling them clowns at the very end. And he wanted to call out Saban. We all know who he was talking about, but I wish he would have just said Nick Saban's name. Say Lane Kiffin's name. As Roman Reigns says, acknowledge me, acknowledge them, put them on blast. But I kind of like the subtle drops, and everyone kind of know, if you know, you know who he's talking about. And the thing is, he didn't have to say their names, and everyone knew exactly who he was talking about. So I found that fascinating as well. I love coaching rivalries, and I think that's what's happening here. I think that fuels the sport. People ask me why college basketball, why the popularity that has gone down. The boring answer of one and dones. It's hard to fall in love with players in college basketball because there's so much movement as far as coming in and out of college basketball. But you're starting to see that when you get to the NCAA tournament, I love the coaching matchups. If you'd see a Rick Pitino go up against a Coach K, if Roy Williams, Rick Pitino, or Calipari against Coach K, like those things are awesome. Izzo, Thad Matta back in the day for Ohio State. Like I love good coaching matchups. College basketball coaches have gotten younger. Some of the older legends have kind of retired. Obviously, it's Coach K's farewell. But I love the coaching rivalries in all sports. I think it just adds an extra element to it. And as if college football couldn't be any more popular, this definitely enhances that. That's for sure.
With A&M having the best recruiting class of all time and everything like that, just like we put that, everybody in the college football landscape put that mark on Georgia, championship or bust season. Now, I want to see this season for A&M before I go with championship or bust, but that's what happens when you have top 5 recruiting classes year after year, and then you make this big splash and have the number 1 recruiting class of all time. People want results. Fans want results.
How far out do those results have to come?
I would expect the national championship in the next 3 years if I'm in the next.
A&M okay. Fan. I'm sorry. I thought you were like saying right off the bat.
No. I mean, if you're a wide receiver or a quarterback, you can make an impact as a freshman. But to expect an offensive lineman or a defensive tackle to make an impact like that, to a national championship level impact, I think that's a little far-fetched. I mean, a lot of these dudes, they may weigh 280 pounds, but how much of that is quote unquote good weight? Is that muscle? Is that fat? Is that baby fat? All those type of things. And they're really learning how to lift weights for the very first time once they get to the college level and everything like that. So I wouldn't put that added pressure on, the incoming freshmen on the offensive and defensive line and everything like that. But by year 2 and 3, oh yeah, because you've been in the program, there's no more hemming and hawing. So if I'm an A&M fan, I'm expecting the national championship within the next 3 years without a doubt.
All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty and Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Kev Nash brings us over under. When we come back, it'll be Super Bowl edition. Let me see who's on this list. It involves Joe Burrow.
He's playing.
It involves Evan McPherson.
He's playing.
It involves Aaron Rodgers.
He ain't playing.
It involves Baker Mayfield.
Oh, he ain't playing either.
But he was injured. He was injured, Kev. Does that mean anything to you?
It doesn't.
We'll be back. Hour 2 coming up next. Kev Nash brings us over under. Don't go anywhere.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Big Hoopla is celebrating their 10th anniversary this year and will hit a milestone 100,000 tickets donated to airmen, their families, and students when combined with Hometown Heroes events in those 10 years. This furthers our region's commitment to supporting our military during the 75th anniversary year of the Air Force. The 2022 NCAA First Four Men's Basketball Tournament, Tuesday, March 15 and Wednesday, March 16 at UD Arena. Get your tickets and donate to be a part of our mission at DaytonHoopla.com.
Hey guys, if you love football, Sunday, February 13th is a big day. And if you'd like to score points of your own, Monday, February 14th is even bigger. Order our Midnight Romance Special and have it delivered on Thursday or Friday of that week. It includes roses, Esther Price candy, and a bottle of wine. Order at firsttheflorist.com. That's F-U-R-S-T, theflorist.com. First Florist and Greenhouses, Dayton's largest family-owned florist and greenhouses at 1306 Troy Street since 1905. Order our Midnight Romance Special now.
Winter is here. Rob's Beer Barn is stocked with the newest seasonal beers and refreshments. That means Rob's Beer Barn has you covered for all your needs, including for the big game on Sunday, February 13th. At Rob's, you can find all the ice-cold refreshments you'll need. Craft, imported, local, and seasonal beers, fine wine, snacks, and ice. Plus, Rob's Beer Barn has apparel. And for last-minute items, you can call, walk in, or drive through. Rob's Beer Barn on Indian Ripple Road at Darst, just a mile east of the Green. Rob's Beer Barn, just look for the beaver.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Want the same internet but more privacy? DuckDuckGo's got you covered. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers, all for free. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Dreaming of adventure beyond your backyard? NerdWallet can help you compare and find the smartest credit cards to get there. Use NerdWallet to compare travel cards with bonus miles to go from working from home to relaxing far, far away. Then use NerdWallet to compare cashback cards and turn everyday purchases into a beachside cabana big enough for the whole family.
Or stand for the third tower.
She's the only boss you'll be answering to this week. Nice castle. Compare your way there. Find the smartest financial products for you on NerdWallet.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2. It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station 1410 Wing AM. I had a little nice snow day yesterday. It was kind of nice just, being trapped in, forced to stay in. And, I did not like that we didn't have a show yesterday. Maybe you guys did.
So much to talk about.
There's a ton to talk about. So we haven't even gotten to the main, meat and potatoes of everything going on right now. We're going to take a look at some of the NFL coaching hires. Want to get your take on everything that's going on with of course, we were kind of ending the show as the Brian Flores news was announced on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. But to get your opinion on everything kind of going on right now as he's made his media rounds, keep your lawyers at home, by the way. The lawyers that did the show with him on First Take or Get Up or whatever, they kept interrupting him, and Greeny was like, I'm going to talk to him now. And they kept turning his back. It was the most uncomfortable interview I've ever seen. But nonetheless, we'll get to that coming up around the corner. But we made it an hour into the show. We didn't talk Bengals. We didn't talk Super Bowl. Shame on us, or at least shame on me. Kev's like, hey, don't blame me. But Kev Nash brings you over, under.
Kev Nash brings you over, under.
Yes. All right. It's over under right here with Kev Nash. And it's got, it's a Super Bowl themed, even though it does involve a couple players not technically playing in the Super Bowl a week from Sunday. But Kev Nash brings us over under. Kev, what is number 1 on your list?
Yes, indeed. For the first time in a long time, over under. So over under 2.5 Super Bowl appearances for Joe Burrow's career.
Appearances.
Yes.
So over under, you said one more time, 2.5 Super Bowl appearances for Joe Burrow. I'm going to say under, but I'm going to say this won't be his only Super Bowl appearance. It may not be his only Super Bowl win, mainly because I think that if you look at, they're already in the Super Bowl in year 2.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 more years to still get there and make it back. I'm not saying it's impossible, but history tells you after that rookie contract for your quarterback is up, the likelihood of you getting back is very slim. A lot has to fall, into place. But the football gods have all of a sudden become big Bengals fans all of a sudden. So who knows? But no, for me, over under, if you're just tuning in, 2.5 Super Bowl appearances for Joe Burrow's career. It's already year 2. He's already in 1. I'm willing to say under, but I'm going to say he still has at least 2 Super Bowl appearances in his career, mainly because, like I said, already in it this year. And still 2 more years, possibly 3, but they're not going to, they're not going to do the option on him. By the way, the Chiefs, they paid Patrick Mahomes after year 2.
Right.
I mean, when he won that, after year 3, I'm sorry, when they won that Super Bowl, they paid him right away, the $500 million contract. Joe Burrow's trending in that right direction. So with that being said, I think he gets to 1 more after this year that I feel comfortable predicting. Not because I don't think he's good enough to get back after the next couple of years, but I think once the Bengals are strapped by paying him, it's going to be very difficult. That's not a shot at the Bengals. That's just the reality. Look at the rest of the NFL. So I'm going to say under, Kev. I'm going to say he gets to 1 more after this year that I'm comfortable predicting. It could be more, but I'm going to say under.
I'm going to go with the under as well, just off of the fact that we've seen other Hall of Fame quarterbacks only reach the Super Bowl 1 time. Dan Marino only made it 1 time. Aaron Rodgers only made it 1 time.
Drew Brees.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so difficult to get there. It's so difficult to make it to the Super Bowl. We like to put this whole thing on the quarterbacks and quarterback wins and everything like that. This is a team sport. So anybody looking out there that's a Buffalo Bills fan, they think that the reason they didn't beat the Kansas City Chiefs was Josh Allen's fault. Nah, he balled his butt off. Like, just sometimes these type of things happen. Sometimes you're just not able to make it there. And I mean, you can look at Aaron Rodgers. And so many times he's been in the playoffs. Sometimes his team score in the 30 and 40 point range and they lost in the playoffs. Sometimes, like this past season, they didn't score a lot of points. So it's going to be a possible situation where Joe Burrow and the offense don't have it that day and they're not able to score enough points and win the game. So 1,000,001 different things could happen. So I'm going to go with the under as well.
So, and again, I'm adamant. The reason I'm saying, like, if he would have made the Super Bowl next year and you did this, I would have said under. I would have still said under without predicting another one. But I think, you're in it in year 2.
Right.
And you still have another 2 to 3 years of him on the rookie deal. And they have the most cap space of any team that made the playoffs this year. I still think that this team is going to, this might be over the next 2 to 3 years, this might be the worst Bengals team that he plays. Last year was pretty bad, but this will be the worst playoff roster he plays on over the next 2 to 3 years until he gets that major contract. So that's kind of where I'm at when it comes to that, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I think he has a good chance of making a few more appearances throughout this rookie contract.
All right, number 2, 2.5 field goals made for Bengals kicker Evan McPherson in the Super Bowl versus the Rams.
Oh, wow. So over under 2.5 field goals for the Bengals kicker Evan McPherson against the Rams in the upcoming Super Bowl. So I'm going to say over. Mainly because, look, the Cincinnati Bengals throughout this playoff run, they have scored 72 points. He is almost responsible for 50% of those. Mm-hmm. He has 40 points. Okay, he has 40 of those 72 points he is responsible for. And, while that's a great story, that is something that's also a little bit alarming on the offensive side. Look, the Bengals they played better offensively in that second half against the Chiefs. I don't think that they played lights out in the second half. I think that, and this isn't a shot, I hate that I have to put this disclaimer out, but you guys are soft sometimes. The Chiefs played horrible in that second half because of that defense. That defense is going to have to replicate a lot of those similar attacks against Matthew Stafford and the Rams. I think, it's going to come down to defenses on both sides. But with the offensive line issues and we know how good the pass rush is for the Rams, the offense makes me a little nervous. I think that they're going to rely heavily on the the leg of McPherson. When we gave our top 3 reasons for why the Bengals are here, I said he was the number 1 reason. He's responsible for almost 50% of their points in this playoff run, while Joe Burrow's getting all the love. And everyone says, well, Joe Burrow, he needs credit for setting him up. Well, that's one way of spinning it. Or you could say your quarterback's not, he's not converting on third down. And by the way, not all these field goals, more than half of his kicks in this playoff run, Kev, have been from 40 or back. So it's not like Joe Burrow is stumbling. The offense is kind of struggling in the red zone. They're not even getting into the red zone half the time. I'm a big fan of Evan McPherson. I love that the Bengals had the guts to take him in that 5th round, despite me and many people criticizing him for doing so. That pick has been as instrumental in their success this year as the number 5 pick with Jamar Chase. So I'm going to say over. I think that he at least makes 3 in this upcoming Super Bowl.
I'm going with the over as well. He's already top 5 kicker in the league, right behind Justin Tucker, Boswell from the Steelers, Robbie Gould, and you know his name right in there. Greg Zuerlein down there with the Cowboys and everything like that. So he's right up there with all the best kickers in the league already as a rookie. And you're right, like the Bengals offense, like once they get past like the 40, it's been stalling out. Definitely in the playoffs, they haven't been that high flying, scoring a ton of points from anywhere on the field team since that Kansas City game, so I'm figuring that more of the same will happen with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm figuring they'll do a solid drive and probably stall out and have to kick a field goal. So I'm gonna go with the over.
Yeah, and I pulled this up. Only one of his field goals in these playoffs have come within the 30. Only one. Everything else has been.
So that game winner versus Kansas City.
That game winner was the. No, he's only had one kick within the. That kick would have been within the 40.
That was a 40-yarder?
It was a 40-yarder. His longest that game was the 52. But I mean, he's lights out. He's 12 for 12 during this postseason run. So with the numbers in front of me here, he has not made one field goal. He has not even attempted one field goal inside the 20. He has only attempted one field goal inside the 30 throughout this playoff run. He has attempted 6 of his 12 field goals have come within the 40. And then this is what's crazy too. You look at it, 2 have come within the 50. And then of course he has 3 50 or longer. I mean, he's lights out. This isn't just the Bengals getting in the red zone and the offense falling short. No, the Bengals offense has not been playing as well as you guys think. He has bailed them out on so many occasions. It's not even funny. Like the numbers are right here in front of you. Yeah, I think he at least has 3 against the Rams coming up. On to number 3, Kev.
Number 3, good old Aaron Rodgers, currently still a Green Bay Packer. 1.5 more Super Bowl appearances for A-Rod in his career.
If he leaves Green Bay, I'm going to go with the under regardless. But if he leaves Green Bay, I believe he has 1 more Super Bowl. How did you? In his career, 1.5 Super Bowl appearances for Aaron Rodgers' career. I am going to say if he stays in Green Bay, it's the under. I don't think he gets back to a Super Bowl if he stays in Green Bay. The only way he gets to another Super Bowl is if he leaves Green Bay and he ends up going to. And I don't like the move of Denver, by the way. If he goes to Denver, you're going to go to the same division with Patrick Mahomes. You're going to go to a stacked AFC. I'm not a fan of that, but I'm going to say the under, unless he goes to a situation that really is similar to what Tom Brady did with the Buccaneers, where you have superstars all over the place. That's not Denver. So if he goes to Denver, I'm going to stick with the under. But I do think if he stays in Green Bay or if he goes to Denver, he's not getting another Super Bowl for his career. I thought his best chance was this past year, and we saw how that fizzled out, unfortunately, in that game against San Francisco. So I'm going to say the under, but my gosh, he's so damn talented, and it's tough to get to the Super Bowl. But I'm going to say under, Kev. I don't think he gets to another Super Bowl unless he gets to a situation that is similar to Tom Brady's, and I don't know if that exists out there. I don't see it with the Raiders. I don't think that roster is strong enough. I mean, I know he'll elevate it, but does he elevate it to as good as what the Bucs were with Tom Brady? I don't think so. Same thing with the Broncos. Now, moves can be made in the draft and free agency, of course, and if Devontae Adams ends up being a package deal with him, that's a conversation that could change as well. But for right now, I'm going to say the under.
I'm going to go with the under as well. I think he gets back to 1 more, and I also believe that he's going to stay with the Green Bay Packers. I don't think he leaves. I think he's smart enough to see, like, okay, man, the Bears, they have a second-year quarterback, a rookie head coach, second-year head coach with the Lions and everything like that. What are they going to be doing, and what have the Lions done in the last 10 years. So those are quote unquote victories. You know what I'm saying? Those are penciled in victories and everything like that. And then you look at Minnesota.
The whole division could be, yeah. I mean,
so like, look, man, you just got to basically go 4-2 in the division and your division winners and you're in the playoffs. You go to the AFC West. That's a dogfight. It was a dogfight for Kansas City this year. So you think that it's not going to be a dogfight for you if you go to Denver, even though I thought that's where he would end up this offseason? I think that Aaron Rodgers stays with Green Bay and they find a way to get it done next season and get back to the Super Bowl.
Dylan Shaver has a great suggestion. He goes, I think he'll end up in Tennessee. The AFC South is bad. And you know what? He goes to Tennessee. You don't even need Devontae Adams at that point. You are going to have A.J. Brown. You're going to have Julio. You're going to have Derrick Henry. You have that offensive line. Great coach. A perfect defense to pair with it. Who knows if that'll happen or not, but I could see that being the case. And if you're Green Bay, you're going to need a quarterback, and Jordan Love probably isn't the guy. I mean, maybe they roll out with it, and that's how they kind of tank, if you will. We'll get to that coming up too. But I could see the Titans saying, hey, we'll send you Ryan Tannehill as a part of the package, so you at least have a playoff capable quarterback coming your way. But no, Tennessee's not a bad option as far as that.
Nice city too, by the way.
So yeah, better than Green Bay. All right, Kev, and number 4.
I don't know how this snuck onto my sheet. Anyway, number 4, over or under 1.5 Super Bowl appearances for one Baker Mayfield in his career.
1.5?
1.5, that good old hook.
Under, but I think to sit there and say he'll never get to a Super Bowl is kind of crazy. Like, let me list these names for you, Kev. Nick Foles,
winner.
Jared Goff,
winner.
Joe Flacco. And again, you said appearances, correct?
Yes.
Super Bowl appearances. Okay. Nick Foles, Jared Goff, Joe Flacco, Brad Johnson, Rex Grossman,
Sexy Rexy,
Tony Banks / Dilfer back in that 2000 Ravens appearance. Okay. Though Baker, I will take Baker over all those quarterbacks I just listed. So if those quarterbacks that I just listed can get to a Super Bowl, some of those won, some of those didn't. I think it's kind of foolish to say that Baker will never get to a Super Bowl. I'm going to, you said over under 1.5 Super Bowl appearances for Baker Mayfield's career. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say under, but I would say 1. If this was over under 0.5 Super Bowl appearances for Baker Mayfield, I would say over, because I think he's good enough to get to 1 if in the right situation. But no, I'm going to say under, but I do think he gets to 1. Why not? I mean, like I said, I just listed off Nick Foles, Jared Goff, Joe Flacco, Rex Grossman, Brad Johnson, that Tony Banks Dilfer combination that, Dilfer took over. The Ravens won that Super Bowl in 2000 or what have you. But in the last 20 years, those are quarterbacks that made it to the Super Bowl. And I think Baker is more talented than all those guys. So, yeah, I think it's kind of, you're hating if you're saying that he'll never get to a Super Bowl. There's way too many names that have made it to one that you're like scratching your head saying, really? So, yeah, I'm going to say that that's the case. I'm going to say that, yes, he gets to 1, but it'll be under. He won't get to more than 1 Super Bowl in his career.
I'm going to remind everybody that football is a team sport, but I'm going to still go with the under, because Baker Mayfield and whoever's team he's going to have to go up against, let's just say he's still with the Browns, he's still going to have to go up against that high-flying offense with the Buffalo Bills. They're still going to have to face, obviously, Joe Burrow and the Bengals. They're going to have to face the Ravens in that attack. They're going to have to face Kansas City. We know how good they are. And then, obviously, the up-and-comers, and if they can ever decide to start kicking some field goals when they're inside the 5-yard line, the Los Angeles Chargers. So you already have those teams that we can probably say are ahead of the Browns currently. I just think that it's going to be tough for him to make it to a Super Bowl currently. Now, if he's able to pull a situation and get to a different team, maybe in the NFC, yeah, but I'm going to go with the unders, definitely with the 1.5. 1 is possible, very possible, but I think it's unlikely that he gets to 2 at the current state of his career and the layout of the football team. There's going to be a ton that needs to happen during the offseason. There's going to be a ton of mended fences between the organization and Baker Mayfield. Like, everybody's thinking about like, oh man, does the organization want Baker Mayfield? Well, what about the other way around? What about the other way around? He could feel slighted. He could feel a totally different way. He could feel like, hey man, yeah, I'm the player. I'm going to be out there for my team and roll out there. But y'all, the doctors, y'all the ones should be telling me no. he could feel like, hey man, this offense isn't for me. This is an offense that I think my skill set is best for. He could want to move on. So people got to start thinking of it from that perspective too. This isn't just all on Baker Mayfield. This is the Browns organization as a whole that they need to get their stuff together.
All right. And that was Kev Nash bringing us over under.
Kev Nash brings you over under.
All right. So that wraps it up for this part of the show. We'll step away for a few moments when we'll come back. And by the way, that was a very detailed explanation for Baker Mayfield. I mean, you start bringing up, his resentment towards them resentment. He was injured. He'll be healthy next year. The Browns are Super Bowl contenders heading into the season. They'll be Super Bowl contenders heading into next season too. Just saying. He was injured. I'm going to let my blood pressure kind of go down before we come back. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next. You know what to do with the show.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy with a chance of snow, a high near 23. Tonight's also going to be mostly cloudy with a chance of snow, a low near 4. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy and cold, a high near 22. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Skyways are back at Skyline for a very limited time. Now through February 6th, order a Skyway and get 50% extra cheese and no extra charge on regular and large ways. At participating Skylines only. Feeling good. It's Skyline time.
Don't miss the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds. Browse over 40 hot tubs from 5 major brands at up to 50% off. Financing is available and show admission is free. That's this weekend at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds in Dayton. Visit hottuboh.com.
Veterans, were you exposed to harmful burn pit smoke while serving overseas? The Department of Veterans Affairs has recognized and is providing benefits to veterans who suffer with asthma, rhinitis, and sinusitis as a result of burn pit exposure. If you served in the Southwest Asia Theater of Operations or Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Syria, or Djibouti and suffer from any respiratory illnesses that you believe is a result of exposure to burn pits, contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
This is your Wendy's wake-up call. Start your day with a better breakfast and get a free drink with any of our morning-making breakfast sandwiches. That's your favorite drink in a Wendy's cup, free. Fresh brewed coffee, free. Diet Coke, free. Vanilla Frosty-Chino, that's cold brew plus Frosty Creamer plus free. So don't sleep on this deal. Get any size drink in a Wendy's cup free when you buy any breakfast sandwich. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating Wendy's. On the card only. Offer valid upon request on lowest price qualifying item. Not valid for third-party delivery.
I love my hardwood floors, but I wasn't sure how to take care of them. Carrying around a bucket was such a hassle. And even worse, my string mop left streaks and haze behind. Then I found Swiffer Wet Jet Wood, the all-in-one tool made specially for wood floors. Its microfiber-like pad is soft, and it sprays a light mist solution that dries fast. With Swiffer Wet Jet Wood, it's easy to keep up with the mess on my wood floors. Even that mess.
Swiffer Wet Jet Wood, proud member of the National Wood Floor Association.
The Dayton Fire Department is hiring and accepting applications beginning January 4th, running through February 20th. If you have a determined attitude and are looking for an exciting job with great pay, superior training, with college credits available after training, excellent benefits, and a rewarding career, then the Dayton Fire Department needs you. Visit joindaytonfire.com for more information today. Minorities especially encouraged to apply. The DFD is an equal opportunity employer. The Dayton Fire Department. Come live the dream.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter.com/find.
And now an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that non-contact thermometers are not accurate. They also have inaccurate information on their labels regarding accuracy. New COVID strains are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, The Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Well, I knew that if I have to give the analysis that Bengals fans like, otherwise I make them angry and they get mad. People yelling at me on Twitter right now and sending in private messages, all ticked off at me, Kev, because of my comment about Evan McPherson. I didn't bash Evan McPherson. I said that Evan McPherson is the main reason that the Bengals are where they're at in the Super Bowl. He is more responsible than Joe Burrow for why they're in the Super Bowl based on the playoff performances. And I bring that up because everyone's coming at me saying, well, how did he, someone had to set him up to kick those field goals. You're right. Let's talk about that. Let's see where the offense could not convert on third down, which set up these long distance field goals for Evan McPherson. This wasn't a shot at the Bengals, by the way, but if you're going to come at me, I'm at least going to counter with why I believe what I believe. And if I'm using logic and you're just using a delusional fandom, then that's on you. And I come across smarter than you. And if that's the case, and that's not my problem, that's a you problem. You want to take that knowledge out with friends and embarrass yourself around other people, more power to you, but take a listen. Now you've ticked me off, which it only took an hour and a half today. So there's that. But talked about Evan McPherson. People, I said when I ranked the other day who's most responsible for the Bengals getting to the Super Bowl, I said it's been Evan McPherson and the defense, and then Joe Burrow number 3. Because you're in the Super Bowl, your quarterback had to do a lot to get you there. But I think that Joe Burrow has been bailed out by the defense getting timely interceptions and stops, and Evan McPherson bailing out the offense when they can't convert on third down. So we was like, well, the quarterback had to set him up. They had to get into field goal position. Well, you're lucky that the distance for your kicker is so damn long because, as I talked about, throughout this playoff run, at no point did the offense bring in not be able to convert on third down within the 20. Okay. And they have only scored 72 points over the last 3 games. Okay. And so it's not like it's been high powered offense like we've seen out of the Bills, like we saw out of the Chiefs throughout this run and some of the others. So no field goals within the 20. Only one of his 12 field goals have come within the 30. So that means out of the other 11 kicks, they've all come from 30 yards out or more, which outside of the 30 is not bad. He's had 2, 3, all of his kicks have come within the 40. So the Bengals offense not being able to convert on third down with that field position, that's an indictment on the offense, which has set up a golden opportunity for McPherson to capitalize on. And imagine if he doesn't convert on if he doesn't convert on 25% of these, they're not in the playoffs. Or they're not in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's not a hot take. I'm not bashing Joe Burrow. You guys take everything I say and spin it into some kind of insult, and it's not. I'm using, literally right here. I mean, how many field goals? He was 4 for 4 in every game against the Raiders, 4 for 4 against the Titans, 4 for 4 against the Chiefs. All right? He was three of his field goals were within the 40, between the 40 and the 30 against the Chiefs. One was 50 or out. I mean, again, bailing him out with that long-ass field goal is unbelievable. No, it's not like the offense is driving deep into, enemy territory. I mean, they're stalling out on third down. They're not converting on third down at a clip that you would like to see, and Evan McPherson's bailed him out. I'm not bashing the Bengals. I'm just pointing things out, and, it's something to keep an eye on. That's why in the over-under about McPherson, I said I believe he's going to have at least 3 field goals in the Super Bowl, because unless the Bengals all of a sudden decide to go on this touchdown tear, which is going to be very tough against Jalen Ramsey and company, I see a lot of responsibility falling on the leg of Evan McPherson, which is weird to use so much analysis on a kicker talking about a Super Bowl, but I think that's what it's really going to come down to. It's going to come down to special teams in this upcoming Super Bowl, Kevin. I know we'll get into a lot more analysis of the matchup next week, but I think that Evan McPherson, they're going to rely heavily upon him. And by the way, if they come out throwing a ton of touchdowns, more power to them. If you don't need your kicker, that's the best case scenario. You don't need to rely on your kicker. But the Bengals haven't proven to me throughout this playoff run that they don't need their kicker. They're definitely going to need him against the Rams.
Oh, for sure. For sure. You're definitely going to need him to make some kicks. I mean, this Rams defense, once they were able to shut down the 49ers run game and force Jimmy Garoppolo to beat them with the pass, it was all she wrote. Yes.
Pop up your camera just a tad more. But
hi, Mom. No, the 49ers, when they had to rely on the pass, they were obsolete. So I know Aaron Donald is a maniac. I know this, but you can run the ball on the Rams. The Niners were able to prove that in 2 matchups versus the Rams this season. So I would think it would be stupid of the Cincinnati Bengals to try to go back there with the drop back and we run the 3 wides and we're about to try to chuck it all over the place. Do what you've been doing in the playoffs. When those matchups present themselves, they went at them. T. Higgins on those square ends and those slant routes, those matchups presented themselves because you stuck to a good game plan of running the ball and not being one-dimensional and saying we're going to try to chuck the ball all over the place. And if it just turns out that you have to settle for field goals, then so be it. Because the defense that you've been playing has been pretty good in the playoffs. Your defense in the playoffs has been better than it was in the regular season. In the regular season, it wasn't too shabby either. And let's not forget, if I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I'm confident going into this matchup simply based off of my defense's ability to cause turnovers. As great as Matthew Stafford was versus the Tampa Bay Bucks, he almost gave the game away versus the 49ers by throwing that punt, threw an arm punt. And sorry, I can't remember the DB's name for San Francisco who dropped it. If he makes that catch, makes that interception, there's 3 minutes on the clock. The Rams have no timeouts thanks to McVay.
Man, you hate Stafford.
I'm just saying. I'm just pointing this out. I'm just pointing it out. He threw it to double coverage. The DB dropped it, and the Rams had no timeouts thanks to McVay. They're going to run off at least 2 more minutes off the clock, giving them about 1:30 with no timeouts to go win the game. I would have liked my chances. So if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm feeling confident with my defense versus him. It just is what it is.
He's been better than Joe Burrow throughout the playoffs. Joe Burrow threw a late fourth quarter interception too, and his defense bailed him out. Both these quarterbacks get bailed out by their defense and other pieces too. But Matthew Stafford has been lights out throughout these playoffs. That was a bad throw, yes, and he did get bailed out. The game probably.
And to his credit, he got a mulligan. And what did he do? He went down there and scored the game-winning touchdown. So he got his mulligan, but I'm just going based off his career. He has a propensity of giving one away. He threw an interception in the end zone on I want to say their second drive of the game. So he give you out a chance
and come from behind wins, man.
He also leads the league in interceptions thrown too.
He's the most clutch quarterback in the NFL right now.
He also leads the league in interceptions. So what I'm saying is,
when that stat means something, because when Joe Burrow led the league in interceptions,
I didn't say Joe Burrow. I didn't say Joe Burrow.
Interceptions too. He's still.
I said that about Mahomes too. Like when you cough it up, when you give the team an opportunity to make plays, turning the ball over is the worst thing you can do as a quarterback. The absolute worst thing to do, especially in the red zone. So with a guy that has a propensity of throwing interceptions, he's going to give you an opportunity. So if I'm a DB for the Cincinnati Bengals, if I'm Eli Apple, I'm getting some stickum on my gloves because you dropped one against Patrick Mahomes that could have iced it. So he's going to give you an opportunity. He going to give you at least one.
He's going to give you one that's right in your hands. It's up to the Cincinnati Bengals to make the catch and make the interception. So if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, especially on defense, I'm feeling confident. Now, offensively, if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals fans, I'm a little shaky. That offensive line, I know they only gave up 1 sack versus Kansas City, but Chris Jones ain't no Aaron Donald. I know Chris Jones is a very good football player, but Aaron Donald will be wearing a gold jacket one day. I don't think Chris Jones will be. So you have to deal with him. Some dude out there named Jalen Ramsey's going to be following Chase all over the place. They're also getting Jordan Fuller back. They're getting Taylor Rapp back. Getting a lot of dudes back just in time for the Super Bowl. So defensively, I feel good if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals. Offensively, I'm like, so.
Joe Burrow has more interceptions than Stafford has in the playoffs. In fact, Stafford, that one interception that you're harping on, that's his only one of the entire playoffs.
Wasn't that the most important throw of the game?
And he's been going up against the Bucs. So look at all the teams he's been going up against, while Joe Burrow going up against the Raiders and the Titans, and finally played a good team in the Chiefs and played well for a quarter and a half.
I love how I've turned into the voice of the Cincinnati Bengals on this show. And I'm not even a Cincinnati Bengals fan. I wasn't even talking about them. I'm just talking about
you're trying to convince people that the quarterback that's better than Joe Burrow is worse than Joe Burrow because of one interception that he threw against the 49ers when Joe Burrow also almost cost his team the game with that interception against the Chiefs. So I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out. You know, it's all about being equal on the show.
Interception in the end zone versus an interception at the 50-yard line is two different things. No, they ain't. When you got points guaranteed to go on the board or highly probable to go on the board with a field goal if you throw an incompletion. Stafford throws interceptions. He throws a lot of interceptions. So I'm just saying, his career and during the rest of the regular season, he threw a lot of interceptions.
He played on an embarrassingly bad team in the Lions. I don't care about that. And the Rams, they're taking more shots down the field than anybody else with that offense. Is Sean McVay. Leave my guy Matthew Stafford
throwing to OBJ, your buddy, right?
Well, that's so what happens when OBJ catches the damn things.
What side of the fence you gonna be on? What side of the fence you gonna be on? You wearing your OBJ jersey? Or you gonna break out your Joe Burrow Ohio State jersey? Which one are you breaking out?
Ohio State Joe Burrow thing. Stop taking. He's a Buckeye.
We're from Ohio.
My Matthew Stafford jersey is in the mail. Enough of that. Joe Burrow's a Tiger. He's not a Buckeye. Well, he technically he graduated from there, but he's a scholastic Buckeye. He's not an athletic Buckeye. He wasn't good enough to cut it out at Ohio State.
Go Bucks.
Aye. We'll be back.
Break out your 10 jerseys.
Leave my guy Matthew Stafford.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Ready for a chicken sandwich that's a kick above the rest? Then Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken has just what you're looking for with the spicy chicken sandwich combo at a great price. The kick you crave is here with a premium all-white meat chicken breast that's spicy marinated and hand-breaded with a kick. Served with creamy chipotle ranch all on a brioche bun, it's the chicken sandwich others aspire to be. Get the chicken sandwich perfected with the spicy chicken sandwich combo at a great price. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Make the big game even bigger with your new TV and sound system from Audio Etc. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom today and experience 8K TVs and projectors. Audio Etc. has tons of new inventory in stock, while everybody else is back-ordered or out of stock. Get special deals on TVs, short-throw projectors for 100-inch and 100 130-inch, and Sonos soundbars from $399. All the way to high-end Dream Systems. Audio Etc. can bring any game home. It's better than being there. You have to see it to believe the incredible quality of the picture and sound. It's all about perspective. Audio Etc. has the brands, the deals, and the excitement. Audio Etc. powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of.
Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom.
Make this the winter of you with Audible. Listen to the latest thrillers, motivation, wellness, and more with podcasts, audiobooks, and originals all in one app. Sign up and start free at audible.com.
Got a party of 10 coming in. We need to flip those 2 tables.
Leah's restaurant is fully booked night after night.
Section 3 is still behind.
She no longer has reservations about finally finding a hostess.
Why doesn't 23 have menus? Oh, because they're in my hand.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7 with supplies and solutions for every industry and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Bengals and the Rams, Super Bowl a week from Sunday. By the way, I saw they put a picture of the field out, and it is weird seeing the Super Bowl logo with the Bengals, in the end zone. That's that thing that the Bengals can't ever seem to get into, which is why Ivan McPherson has. I'm just joking, kind of. But it looked really cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like when your team, you do that with your teams. Like when I ever watched the Super Bowl, I always sit back and say, man, what would it be like if my team was here? You envision your team's, end zone filled with the logo. When you watch the NBA Finals, man, if what would the Cavs look like again back in the finals without LeBron? Like how cool would that be? Like you envision your team. I do this every year at the World Series. I watch the World Series and I just try and envision how electric Great American Ballpark would be for a World Series home game. Like how, so the Bengals get to experience that coming up a week from Sunday. A lot of Bengals fans have experienced this from, decades ago. And this is an opportunity for a new generation of Bengals fans to experience that. So I think that part's cool. I'm not a Bengals fan, but even I see that picture and see the Bengals logo in the end zone with the Super Bowl logo right there at the hash. So it's really cool opportunity. Who would you say has the highest odds for the Bengals if they win of being the Super Bowl MVP? Who do you think that is, according to the odds makers?
Joey B.
Joe is correct, but Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon and Cam Akers have equal Super Bowl 56 betting odds as far as coming out. And I do, man, I don't think Joe Burrow, and again, Joe Burrow proves everyone wrong. He's proven me wrong every freaking week. But I think that this game, the reason I think that if Joe Burrow is having to throw a lot, that means that the run game's taken away. That means they're trailing in this game.
Right.
Which is why I don't think Joe Burrow is going to win the Super Bowl MVP, just because I think that if they're airing it out like that, you're not airing it out against the Rams. You're not going to pull what you did against the Chiefs and the Ravens, earlier in the season. I just don't see that happening. Joe Burrow is going to throw for, in that 250 to 300 range, which is a great game for any quarterback. I think he gets 2 touchdowns, maybe 1 pick, but I think that if the Bengals have a chance to win this game, it's going to, they need a big game from Joe Mixon. He's had a quiet playoff run. He's picked up the yards that are needed. He's made some, key catches at times. He's picked up some key first downs and all that. He had a very good game against the Chiefs last week. But I think for the Bengals to have a chance to win, it really does come down to Joe Mixon. And I think that he has to have the biggest game of his career if they have a chance to beat the Rams in the Super Bowl. So I I think it's Joe Mixon. The odds are that he's the odds-on favorite if the Bengals win for him to be Super Bowl MVP. But I just think that for the Bengals to win, I think they need a big game from him, and I don't think they're winning unless they get a big game from him. And by big game, at least one touchdown and well over 100 yards rushing. Like that to me is a big game, and I think they're going to need that against the Rams.
I think they need.
You can run on the Rams too, as you've talked about.
Yeah, you can run on the Rams. You can run on them, but I think you're in the all-around game from Joe Mixon, something that he's definitely very capable of. If he rushes for 80-plus yards, like about 85 yards, and catches the ball for like another 60, 70 yards out the backfield, the Cincinnati Bengals win because you're keeping. Yes, I know Chase is like the explosive playmaker, but he's the grinder. He's the one that's going to keep the chains moving and keep Stafford and Kupp and OBJ and Cam Akers off the field. He's going to be the one converting those first downs for you. So Mixon is a key, not only in the running game, but in the passing game. They did an excellent job. I don't even remember the Cincinnati Bengals running a ton of screens this season, but they ran 3 of them versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and one P. Ryan took 40 yards to the house. You know what I'm saying? Because of the offensive line's struggles, we'll say, when you start getting upfield on them, you don't even realize that it's a screen because they're so used to getting after the quarterback. They're not even like, oh, yeah, they're running to go get out in front of the box. Oh, I just beat my dude again. That's how the defensive line has been feeling lately against the Cincinnati Bengals. So them to put a screen pass into their game plan was excellent. And I would be looking for screen passes to Joe Mixon a lot in this game, and even some tunnel screens to Chase, because you want to get the ball out quick. You don't want to hang on to it. Joe B has a propensity to hang on to the ball a lot. And then when he gets out the pocket, he likes to do those throws. He definitely hasn't done that since probably about the halfway point of the season. He stopped trying to make those hero throws and just eating sacks and throwing it away. Get the ball out your hands fast. Get it out fast and get it to your playmakers. And one of those playmakers is definitely Joe Mixon.
Yeah, and with that, the other thing what's strange to me about the stats when it comes to these playoffs, we talked about Joe Mixon really not having a great playoff run. Like, I don't think his playoff run has been that impressive. I mean, he has 190 yards, but he's actually been the best running back in the playoffs. Like, the running game for all teams has not been effective this year in the playoffs. And I don't know, I'd have to go back and look at numbers from recent playoffs, but it is I know it's a quarterback league, but the running back kind of reemerged as a pivotal centerpiece of the offense in the regular season over the last couple of seasons. Derrick Henry being the face of the league there, Nick Chubb with the Browns, Joe Mixon, is third in total rushing yards this season. Cam Akers always right there in the top 10 as well. But I'm amazed at how pivotal of a role the run game plays in the regular season. But I'm not saying it doesn't play a role here. It does, but we haven't seen a running back yet pop off. We have not seen a big game from a running back this entire play. That includes Derrick Henry. He wasn't huge. I mean, I know he had a touchdown, but he wasn't instrumental for the Titans in that game against the Bengals. Joe Mixon has more rush yards than any other running back in the NFL in the playoffs right now, but he's only averaging 63 yards a game. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's strange. So I think he's having a bad play, but no running back is. When you compare him to the rest, he's technically the best of all the running backs that have played in the playoffs this year. Statistically speaking, of course, he only has one touchdown. You look at Cam Akers, he comes in 151 total yards this playoff run, 190 for Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon has one touchdown. Cam Akers has not scored a touchdown yet.
2 fumbles, though.
But it is crazy that these two are the odds-on favorites to win the Super Bowl MVP for either of their teams who come out victorious. So the guys that have played the position that's been the least, as far as production is concerned, those are the odds-on favorites to head into this game. That's what I find interesting. You want to try to keep the opposing quarterbacks off the field as much as possible. That's going to be Cam Akers' job. Keep Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase off the field as much as possible. And the same thing with Joe Mixon. Regardless of your opinion of Matthew Stafford, I want to keep Kevin. I want to keep Cooper Kupp off the field. Well, fine. I'll say Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford, and yes, even OBJ for his 6 targets a game, 5 catches a game, and he's had I can't bash him. The dude, he stepped up in the playoffs. I don't think he wasn't good in the regular season. I don't care. He was not. He was not good for the Rams in the regular season. But his playoff run he's been one of the best.
You can't give a compliment without tearing somebody down.
No, because what happens is when I say that, like, oh, all you did was bash his time with the Rams. I'm like, I wasn't really bashing it. I was trying to point out the hypocrisy and how people analyzed his time with the Rams versus in Cleveland. Outside of the 6 touchdowns with the Rams, that's a important stat. Yes, his targets were the same. His catches were the same. His yards were the same. Nothing changed from his time in Cleveland to here except the touchdowns. And I've always said that the problem with his production in Cleveland was that was not good production in Cleveland because he was the number 1 wide receiver. So now he's giving that same production with the Rams, and everyone's like, look how great he is. I'm like, but so he's a number 2 receiver. People were critical of him in Cleveland because you were not producing as a number 1 wide receiver. And up until these playoffs, he hasn't produced in the NFL in a long, long time, but he's been huge in these playoffs for the Rams. There's no doubt about it. He was huge against the Bucs. He was huge, obviously, this past weekend. And he could be huge against Cincinnati a week from Sunday. So, no, it's interesting in these two which offense is better? Which offense would you take?
The Rams.
As a whole, I would take the Rams as well. I don't think no one's feeling sorry for you if you have the Bengals offense.
Right.
But you're right. I think quarterback, if you're asking for one season right now, Stafford is just, with these weapons, you can't go wrong with either. I think the popular pick would be Burrow. But I would go with Stafford because I'm a hater. But Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp. Number 2 wide receiver, I give advantage to T. Higgins over OBJ, but OBJ's been more dominant in this postseason than T, but T's been great. Running game, I'm going to go Bengals with Mixon, but the offensive line really is what separates the two. They're equally explosive.
Yeah.
I think the offenses cancel one another out. It's going to come down to which defense is going to get the most stops, not stops, but turnovers, force the most turnovers. And if the Rams get to Joe Burrow the way the Titans did, I don't care. I know it was impressive watching what the Bengals did against the Titans, even with him under duress the entire game. You're not beating the Rams. If that type of O-line performance repeats itself against Aaron Donald and Von Miller and company, you're not winning. You're not even gonna have a chance to win. It could be ugly. It could be a blowout. It could be very similar to what we saw last year. Patrick Mahomes threw for a lot of yards, but he was running for his life the entire game, and the offense was never comfortable. The offense didn't play well against the Titans either. They just made timely throws late in games. Joe Burrow stepped up and made some key plays down the stretch. Jamar Chase and company, T. Higgins, what have you. I really do. I like both offenses. It's okay. I know who that is. We good. But you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm at. I like both offenses. I think the Rams have a slightly better offense. I think they're more consistent. I don't like how the Bengals offense has been in this postseason.
Yeah, I just go back to Cooper Kupp. Excuse me. Hang on. Those option routes that this dude runs, man, you got to give him a ton of credit, but the person you got to give the most credit to for his connection is Matthew Stafford, because Matthew Stafford is the one running a different offense. He's the one that had to learn a totally new offense. He's the one that had to get on the same page as a Cooper Kupp. When you run option routes, you have to be on the same page as the person throwing you the ball. If you break in, that ball better be coming in. If you break out, it better be out. He got to see the same leverage that you're seeing from whoever is guarding you. So you got to give Matthew Stafford a ton of credit for that. Another reason why
throws interceptions though.
Hey man, I'm an equal opportunist here, man. I give love and I call it how I see it. So I'm giving him a ton of props for that. And I also give McVay, even though he drove me crazy last week with all them challenges, because they pulled up a graphic which I've never even seen before, but they talked about coaches' challenges and said he had the fewest coaches' challenges in the regular season, and he burned through them things like you burning through them Skittles over there. Like he was just red flag. Hey, I'm challenging everything. So they had 0 timeouts going into the fourth quarter. I don't think I've ever even seen that in an NFL game. You have no timeouts going into the fourth quarter and you're down 11 points. So that was one thing. But I think the ability for McVay really to call a game, even if it's not a high flying game, I think he knows how to scheme open dudes. I think he knows how to scheme open. Just when you think like, all right, man, we're gonna bracket coverage on Cooper Kupp, he does a nice little tight end slip screen. Like, you're not thinking about that. So I think McVay has a up on, Taylor. I think he has a up there. And also, even though we brought this up last week with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs about the experience and everything like that, experience does matter in this situation. You know, this is Aaron Donald's second time playing in the Super Bowl. A lot of other guys on that Rams team that have been there before when they end up losing to the Patriots and everything like that. There's a lot on the line. Like Aaron Donald, yeah, he's going to be wearing a gold jacket one day, but is he going to be wearing a ring with that gold jacket, or is he just going to be wearing a gold jacket? So he has a lot at stake here as well. A lot of dudes that are potential Hall of Famers. And for the Matthew Stafford fans out there who think he's a great quarterback and everything like that, like yourself and Orlovsky and everything like that, you win this game. You win this. If the Rams win this game and Stafford is the MVP, it changes the narrative completely. It does a complete 180. People like myself that kind of look at him with a side eye, we have to give him his props. We have to give him his respect. And furthermore, you take this win and you make it a nice little 2 or 3 run, you wearing a gold jacket too. So it's a lot at stake for the Rams. You know, those dudes are playing for something, while the Cincinnati Bengals, I don't want to say they're happy to be here, but like for them to be in a Super Bowl outside of Charlie, I don't think anybody called this, like going into the season.
Charlie didn't call. Charlie was just trolling. He trolled his way into a right prediction. I'm not giving Charlie any credit for this as far as that's concerned. But no, Charlie, all Bengals fans deserve this.
Oh, yeah, they deserve it. They deserve it for sure. And brag and boast for sure. Y'all in the game while our teams are watching. But it's hard for me not to think the
Rams, that's my team. What about yours?
It's hard for me not to put my faith, I guess the right word is, into the Rams, because the amount of experience, and not only experience from the players, but from the head coach. You think he's going to be doing some of the same things that he did in the Super Bowl last time? You'd expect him to make those adjustments and everything like that. And, you know, they're technically at home, you know, like I think a lot of that stuff matters.
Yeah. And you talk about those adjustments. I think the adjustments have already been made as far as the regular season, just with the way this offense is unfolded, because you had Jared Goff the last time you were in the Super Bowl. You have Matthew Stafford now. See, I believe that Matthew Stafford, they traded for Matthew Stafford. He has to deliver on the Super Bowl. And if they don't do it, if they don't win it this year, I don't think that's an indictment on him. It will be an indictment on their coach in McVay.
Yeah.
More so McVay. Like, you got Matthew Stafford to get you to a Super Bowl. To win you one, yes, but at the very least get you there. I think if they lose, if he performs well and they lose, I don't think I mean, he's already earned the respect of most people out there except Kev, as far as his performance goes.
I just gave the man props.
But no, you did that. But you know, he has to win it first. He has to do
I gave him props. I gave him props for the way he played against Tampa Bay, because his teammates tried to give it away. Cam Akers had 2 fumbles. Cooper Kupp had a fumble. The center snapped it like Pouncey did versus the Browns in the playoffs game last year. He had nothing to do with none of them 4 turnovers. He was just watching them cough it up. He led them back and had a great game. Gave him props for that. Just gave him props for his ability to learn a new offense on the fly and have the ability with him and Cooper Kupp to be on the same page. I just gave this man mad props. I point out that he threw an arm punt, and I'm the worst man on earth. He threw an arm punt. Dude dropped it.
Okay. But
and then after that,
pick the whole playoffs, and then you say plural as in more than one, and then you bash him for an interception that wasn't. And like, then, it doesn't make it. It's like Kinner. That's Kinner mode.
No, and then after he threw the arm punt that dude dropped, I gave him props to say he shook it off and led his team on a game-winning drive.
Of course,
I gave him
Matthew
props.
Stafford. He's the most clutch quarterback in the NFL right now. Now that Tom Brady's out, he's the most clutch quarterback in the NFL. The stats back it up. You know how I am on stats. I love stats.
Yeah, buddy, we know.
But that stat right there is not a whole lot to like misconstrue it. You could say, okay, why are you behind? Well, you spent more than 90% of your career in Detroit. That's why. So there's that. But no, so I do think, I'm a hater, but I do think there's more pressure on Burrow than people want to admit. Because the reason that no one's thinking that there's pressure on Burrow is this. Everyone is just, there's no way in hell he could have a bad game, right? Like that's people's mindset. So people will not, their minds won't let them go in the direction of, well, if he has a bad game, then what? If he has a bad game and then what? So what? He's in the Super Bowl in year 2. But I do know how quick narratives change, Kev. I mean, the narratives change so dang quick. I mean, it's so quickly. And last year, Patrick Mahomes, by the way, in his first couple years in the league, to win an MVP, to win a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP, to get to back-to-back Super Bowls, and look, he had a bad game last year against the Bucs. And what do people start doing? Well, I don't know. I think this has to fall on the shoulders of Patrick Mahomes. He didn't rise up. And I'm like, wait, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Like, that's where we go with this right away. And so I do believe that everyone has not even considered what happens if the Bengals get blown out and Joe Burrow plays poorly against this defense, because everyone's riding on this cloud of Joe Burrow is the replacement for Tom Brady. He's the next Tom Brady. He's the next Tom Brady. He didn't beat, but the Bengals defense just beat the face of the NFL and Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow he beat Patrick Mahomes in the head-to-head. He beat him twice in the last month. There's a lot to be said about that. But when Josh Allen got beat by Patrick Mahomes, no one said that Josh Allen was any less of a quarterback. And I don't think that Patrick Mahomes, even having a horrible AFC title game against the Bengals, he's still the best quarterback in the NFL. Joe Burrow, though, there is a lot of pressure here because NFL loves feel-good stories. Patrick Mahomes has been that feel-good story for the last couple of years. Joe Burrow has a chance. He already is that feel-good story. But if he goes and lays an egg, then you're going to have some of those people that are going to creep right back into that doubter category of Joe Burrow's a good quarterback, but he's not, he's not the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes of the world. I do think he has to have a big game, Kev, even though he is only the second year of the league. You can't do all that cocky trash talking he does. He can't, oh no, this is where we're supposed to be here. In fact, I'm surprised we weren't there last year, him spewing all that garbage. No, you want to spew that, I'm going to hold you accountable to it. This is the standard. This is what we're supposed to do. Then go win it. Go win it then and win that MVP. Don't hide behind your kicker. Don't hide behind your defense. Go win it. Jared Goff those type of quarterbacks are supposed to hide behind their kickers and their defense, not Joe Burrow. Go win the Super Bowl. Go lead your team to that Super Bowl victory. Don't throw for 185 and a pick and a touchdown and then have your kicker hit 4 or 5 field goals in the game and your defense get 2 interceptions and then hoist up the MVP trophy. That's not how it works. That's not how it works for any quarterback, and I'm not going to let that happen for him. Now, if he goes out, throws for 300-plus yards, 2-3 touchdowns, I'll even say even with the pick, and they win, that's all Joe B. Any quarterback that throws for over 300 yards, multiple touchdowns in the Super Bowl victory, you the guy. You the dude. But no, you ain't going to go throw for 225, 2 1/4, and a pick and a touchdown while your kicker does all. Nope. No, that's who does that? Baker Mayfield would do that type of stuff. Baker Mayfield sits back, throws for 200+ yards, maybe a touchdown or 2, and let the run game take care of you. Let the defense take care of you. That's what I was told Baker to. Joe Burrow's top 5 quarterback. I just got to put that disclaimer out there for those who are getting all butthurt about this. But so Tim on Facebook, he's the big Packers fan. He says, my prediction is if the Bengals win, Stafford throws his 5th pick 6 of the year. Oh yeah, Kev's all into this now. So Tim says that his prediction, if the Bengals win, that Stafford will throw his 5th pick 6 of the year. T. Higgins will catch 3 touchdown passes, but big time Burrow gets the game MVP, and Justin will have material for the next week, for the week after, about how Burrow did not deserve it.
He knows you very well.
That's not true. That is not how I would view it. The offense has put up 72 points. Okay, or the offense is not. The team has put up 72 points, and Evan McPherson's responsible for 40 of it. And again, never mind. I'm just going to be done. This Super Bowl, though, is a very good matchup. I'm very excited about this. I was jacked about last year's Super Bowl with the Tom Brady against Patrick Mahomes, Bucks against the Chiefs. This is as big, obviously the quarterbacks aren't as big name as Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Joe Burrow's, he wins this, he's going to be catapulted right up there with them. I think he's on the verge. Obviously, everyone is just coming out year right now. He wins this. Kev, Joe Burrow wins this. He's with Josh Allen. He's with Patrick Mahomes. He's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. But if Matthew Stafford wins this, Stafford's the number 4 quarterback in the NFL for me, because Aaron Rodgers still has to be up there. But Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, if he wins the Super Bowl. But if Joe Burrow wins this, I'm putting him right behind Aaron Rodgers as far as that's concerned. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be it's legacy changing for Matthew Stafford. As far as Joe B is concerned, if I'm a guy like Dan Marino, I'm calling Joe Burrow. I'm calling him and explain to them how, not even just Joe Burrow, but the whole Cincinnati Bengals team, explain to them how important this opportunity is, because he only got there once, never made it back. Second year in the NFL. That could be you. So take advantage of this opportunity. Don't leave anything out there for anybody to say like, oh man, he didn't get it done, or you didn't give it your all. Put everything out there, because you never know. This could be it. Like, we talk about this all the time about how that, you know, Aaron Rodgers has only been there once, and nowadays football, back in the day, getting to the Super Bowl once or winning one Super Bowl, you're golden. You're good. Everybody knows that Aaron Rodgers is going to the Hall of Fame. Everybody knows how talented Aaron Rodgers is. But to be a part of that elite category, now it's 2. 1 is just not good enough. So take advantage, man, because you never know. This might be the only time you get there. And you don't want to be like, man, yeah, I made it once and that's it.
Yeah, and again, I've said this before. Everyone out there, and I said earlier, I think that the Bengals get to at least one more Super Bowl in the next 2 years, could possibly get to back-to-back, because this roster is really, really good, and it's in year 2 of your quarterbacks, since coming into the league. Your core is super young. T. Higgins in year 2, Jamar Chase in year 1, Joe Burrow year 2. And you have Boyd signed for a little bit longer. And then, of course, you obviously have Joe Mixon for a little longer as well. They extended all those guys. Your offensive core, Kev, those guys are set.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Bengals, it wouldn't surprise me if they get to back-to-back. And on top of that, they have more money than they have more revenue. They have more money to spend this offseason than any other team that made the playoffs. So they're going to get even better. This team is in the Super Bowl. This team will probably be one of the this team will not even be the most talented team that Burrow plays on in the next 2 to 3 years. Like, this team's only going to get better, but that's what we envision.
Right.
Browns last year, we all thought, man, this team had $50 million to spend in the offseason. They just got a playoff win. They were within a quarter of getting to the AFC title game with that offense, that run game. Baker played well. The defense was just not up to par. This year, the defense was better, and the offense couldn't do anything with injuries and what have you. But things changed quickly. A year ago, Stefanski's coach of the year. A year ago, the Browns, win 13 games, including their playoff game, of course. They beat the Steelers on the road. Baker had a great season. Everyone's like, oh, man, Cleveland, they're the hottest team. They're a Super Bowl contender heading into this year because of the success they had in the playoffs. And now they're the biggest joke. They keep getting mocked, and they're not even in the damn – I can't tell you how many times I've heard Baker's name be brought up on these national shows because Burrow and the Bengals being here. It fascinates me, but the media turns on you quick. The Browns were the darling last year. They're the punchline of the jokes this year. The Bengals have been the punchline of the joke for national media for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, play well next year,